Hey everyone, welcome back to a new video. So what I want to do in this one is I want to show you how you can add VR to the game animation sample project. So we can use the character's spring arm camera to get a bird's eye view down and play around with the motion controllers to make them run around. It's like a third person VR experience. Super cool, super fun to do. I've already done this on a live stream, which is up on the channel. So I thought I'd condense all of that down, a couple of hours worth of stuff, into a short form video that we can get on the channel and show you guys how to set that up. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a new project. Let me just take sample with VR. It's probably going to complain that the name is too long. I'm going to get the location, projects, game animation sample with VR. Why not? I want to just make sure I've got that right folder. So I got this, it means I can find it easier. So we'll create this, and then while that's loading, I'm going to open up the folder location with VR. Just so you're aware, if you are a Patreon or you're a YouTube member, you're able to download these files afterwards. But in this case, it's probably easier to just set it up yourself, to be honest. Cool, so we've set that up. We've got our folders and files. We're going to go to animation sample with VR. We're going to click launch. So right now my headset is not connected. There's no VR stuff open. So we're going to go through the whole thing, set that up, a couple of plugins, and then we'll go from there. This won't work with mobile VR specifically out the box because we don't have we're not changing the rendering to forward. So really this whole project is it's got sky atmosphere, volumetrics I think put into it, a whole bunch of other stuff in the blueprints which I can show you in a second. So now it's loaded. We give it a second to compile some more shaders. What we can do is we can have a look through the list on the right, and in here we have a blueprint called level visuals, and what that is basically a collection of all the fancy lighting and sky volumetrics, directional light, exponential height fog. It's all in that blueprint. So if you were to put this onto mobile VR, you would need to delete this, change your render settings to forward rendering. We won't be doing any of that just because it takes a little bit of time to compile shaders, but keep that in mind if you want to take that route. So the first thing we're going to do is go to edit and then plugins. We need to enable some plugins in here, specifically the OpenXR. So virtual reality, OpenXR if you're doing desktop VR, which would work fine. So I'm going to do just the OpenXR because I think I can make it run without crashing, without having to set up Meta, because we don't have the Meta XR plugin for 5.4 just yet. So it's telling me off behind my head because I've changed the length of the file name, so it's a bit too long. But with that done, I'm just going to restart the project with OpenXR enabled. So now that we're back in, we have the Meta XR plugin enabled, or it should be. Cool, we got that there. So now we can actually go to VR preview and test that. Haven't set the headset yet. But what we want to do is we want to make some changes inside of the CBP_sandbox character blueprint. So when we open this up, you'll see that we've got a normal event graph, and we've got our capsule components, spring arm, and camera. We're going to use the camera for our VR headset, so we'll have a bird's eye view. That way we can kind of keep a lot of the logic that's already in here. We don't have to change things around all that much. So if you select the component for the camera, you'll see that we have lock to HMD enabled by default. This is exactly what we want. And it means that when we connect a VR headset, it will take control of that camera and it'll lock to the HMD, so the head mounted display. What we don't have is a motion controller setup, so we have no way of seeing our VR controllers. So that's what we're going to do now. To do that, we're going to select the spring arm, and we're going to go to add, and I'm going to search for scene component. Essentially, this is an empty object. It's just an empty component that exists there, and we can attach things to. In this case, we're going to attach our motion controllers. So we do scene. I'm going to call this VR origin. So if we move this around, the motion controllers will be positioned in different places. So that's it with the origin. With that selected automatically, we're going to search for motion controller. So you see we've got motion controller. We're going to say this is motion controller left. And then we're going to just duplicate it. And we're going to have motion controller right. And now what we need to do inside of these motion controllers is tell it which hand we actually are. So if we scroll down on the right hand side with the motion controller selected, we can see here that we have a motion source. We want to right click, or we want to just set like the drop down and then do right. We want to make sure that motion controller left is set up to left. So now we have a way of monitoring where our motion controllers are in relation to the player, but we don't have a visual indication of where they are or what they are. So to do that, what we can do is select the motion controller left, and we search for visual XR device visualization, and then we're going to say this is left as well, and we're just going to duplicate, and I'm going to say this is right. We're going to move this as a child of the motion controller right, and if we hold control we can select both of these at the same time. On the right hand side we want to scroll up or find the section is visualization active. We can select this, display model source. We want to drop down and we want to do open XR. So what this will do is it will read the XR device, so in my case Oculus, which is the headset that I'm using, and it will pick the appropriate controllers for those. So that's it for the components list. What we can do now is we can actually code our event graph. So we don't have a begin play event in this project by default, so we're going to create one. So event begin play. And the first thing we'll do is check to see if a head mounted display, which one is it? Is head mounted display enabled. Can do a branch, and if it is, we can set the spectator screen mode. So this is the same code that you have in the default VR template, which just allows it to work a little bit easier. So I'm going to change this to distorted, and then we want to drag off that and do enable HMD. Set to true. And before we test it, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that in our project settings, so edit, project settings, we're going to search for VR, and we want to make sure that start in VR should be ticked, and then everything else should be fine if we're just doing desktop VR. Screen percentage for VR. Now let's do that one. Cool. So now if I compile, save, and I set up my headset, which I'll do now, we can then go to VR preview. Should be able to jump in, and we can see that we've got our character. If I press the buttons, we actually have our motion controllers, and they are aligned correctly. I just knocked them together, so I think it's just switched to hands. There we go. But we can't actually move around. So the next step is to set up our inputs, and that way we can actually run around and jump around. So it's actually super easy to do. All we want to do is go to our inputs folder, and then in here we want to find our GDC motion matching. Go to mappings, move, and then we'll leave look because it makes me vomit. Actually, I'll put it in there. Somebody will probably use it. Walk, sprint, jump, crouch. I think a couple of these aren't in just yet, but you can go through these and add inputs as you wish. We'll only do a couple of them. So for move, we can see here we've got gamepad, left thumbstick, 2D axis. What we can do is we can press plus. In this case, I'm using my Oculus Quest. If you're using a different device, you might need to use HTC Vive controllers, Windows Mixed Reality, but it's pretty much the same, or even the Valve Index. In my case, I'm just going to use the left thumbstick to do, what's a good one to move forward? Left one's a pretty good one to move forward. So we're going to use the left thumbstick, and we're going to do thumbstick 2D axis. And then look, we're going to do drop down. So this is the mouse, but we're going to do Oculus Touch. And I'm going to do the right thumbstick, and then we'll do 2D axis as well. To do walking, we can pretty much leave that as it is. We do want to change jump to be right controller, Oculus Touch, right controller, we'll do A pressed. So I press the A button. And I don't think crouch or interact is in there just yet. We can actually test, so I can press play. We can go to VR preview. So if you press the middle mouse button, it kind of just zooms in. Crouch, C, shift, control. No, it's not in there yet. So we won't worry about those. But what we've got is we have our Oculus Touch thumbsticks for move and look. Move world space, we could also set that one up, which is going to be pretty much the same. Windows Mixed Reality, left thumbstick, 2D axis. And now we do file, save all. We can go to VR preview. Should be able to jump in and make this full screen. The camera is offset. Hopefully it should sort itself out when I put the HMD on. There we go. So now I'm looking down at the camera. I can move around. Press the buttons to get our controllers in. And now when I press the left thumbstick, we can actually run around, jump around, and do everything that we normally could. And then I can press A on the key on the right controller to jump. So we can jump over the ledges. And even have it so we get to the other bit. But I'm not very good at this one. But yeah. And then we can use the right thumbstick on the right controller to move around, which is really quite nauseating. So I'd recommend locking the axis on that. So you can maybe only go left and right. So let's take a look at seeing if we can do that. Didn't plan for this, but we'll take a look at getting what we do. Input world space, camera, input, Y. I think it's Y up. I might have just got the wrong one for this one. There we go. So now I can only move the camera left and right. And it actually works really nice. Little bit of lag, but that's because I'm like recording in 4K. And then we can go from there. We are clipping stuff. I'll let you guys figure that out. But what we could do, actually, we should be able to go to the spring arm, do collision test, pro size, maybe. Oh, that might be way too big. 10 target arm. Camera. I don't think we need the camera to be in the VR Origin. I'm going to double check that. I'm going to test it. Let's have a look. I might have broke it, but why not? See if that helps. It's really fun to be able to just run and jump around in third person. No, so it's not doing a collision test for some reason. I'll have to have a look at that and see if I can come up with another video. But we've got our character running around. We can see him. We can modify it however we like, and we can kind of go from there. So yeah, that is how you add VR to the motion sample. It is the motion sample, isn't it? I'm getting lost on it. But yeah, you can kind of do what you want and play around with it how you like, and then drop stuff in there. Big thank you to everyone over on Patreon for making this possible. Let me put the time into it, and also dealing with me figuring this out on stream. If you enjoyed the video, please leave us a like and possibly subscribe. It helps a lot. The numbers are slowly climbing, which is really nice. And if you need any help, make sure to drop over to Discord, where we can answer any questions you got. Awesome. Until next time, stay safe and I'll see you then.